Well, I once played a trick on my parishioners at Christ Church in Aspen, Colorado. I said to them, if Jesus hadn't been raised from the dead, would that make a difference in your faith? Well, yeah, you betcha. What I got in response to that was exactly what I expected. These little sermons that were all variations on the Nicene Creed. Yes, of course it would make a difference, because by his death and resurrection, he has liberated us from sin. He has established us himself as the Son of God. If he had not risen from the dead, our faith would be null and void, and on and on and on and on. And yes, they're all the right answers from the point of view of lived Christian tradition. But the problem is that couldn't have been what motivated the disciples who first joined him at the Sea of Galilee, when he issued that, "Come and see, come and follow." At that point, the story was completely unknown. The crucifixion was not known. The resurrection was certainly not known. Everything was up ahead. And what would have had to determine them at that moment couldn't have been faith in some future salvation as dictated by the Nicene Creed, but some living, profound current that can only be called trust, that passed between him and the would-be students of such strength that they were willing to leave their nets, as the gospel said, and follow him right into the unknown. What could that quality be? And where do we find it in ourselves? Because whatever it is, it's the missing piece to be able to walk that path into continuous living remembrance. It was my own spiritual teacher, Father Bruno Barnhart, the former prior at the Camaldolese Hermitage in Big Sur, California, who pointed out in a beautiful way in his wonderful book, Second Simplicity, that the gospel runs on recognition energy. It creates a whole subtext in which situation after situation is set up, in which people have to look at this person and determine for themselves who he is and whether they're going to follow. Bruno's comment here is wonderful. It's right in Wisdom Jesus on page 9, and well worth a read. Says Bruno, "As we accompany Jesus through the Gospels, we are present at one dramatic meeting after another. One person after another experiences a mysterious power in Jesus that from that moment changes the course of his or her life. If we are fully present at the moment when we read such a narrative, we ourselves experience the liberating power of this awakening. Examples come quickly to mind. The two disciples in John's first chapter. 'Rabbi, where do you dwell?' 'Come and see.' Then quickly in that same Johannine chapter, Peter and Nathanael experience the awakening of meeting Jesus. In the Synoptic Gospels, we may recall the reaction to Jesus of the blind man alongside the road to Jericho, of the father of the paralytic boy, of the centurion whose servant was sick, of the thief on the cross alongside Jesus, of the centurion present at Jesus' death. Time after time, we feel the breakthrough of life, the wave front of wonder." The classic recognition text in all of the Gospels is no doubt the extraordinary encounter between Jesus and the Samaritan woman at the well, as recorded in John, the Gospel of John, chapter 4. The story records how Jesus comes to a well in Samaria about the middle day, very, very hot in the desert, and encounters a Samaritan woman drawing her bucket of water. And he draws her into conversation. This is a dangerous encounter, a very dicey encounter, for 2 points. It's strictly forbidden. First of all, Jews don't talk to Samaritans. Second, rabbis don't talk to women. But on both cases, they move right through these prohibitions and engage in a dialogue which gets subtler and subtler, as it's almost like a holy racquetball as he gives her a serve, a recognition serve, and she returns it and bats it back, and he returns it. And at each one of these serves, they ratchet up the dialogue more and more into sheer self-disclosure and transparency. A little bit of it just for the fun. Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that is saying to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have no bucket, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water? Are you greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us the well, and with his sons and flocks drank from it?" Jesus said to her, now watch this ratcheting up here. Jesus said to her, "Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again. But those who drink of the water that I will give them will never be thirsty. The water that I will give them will become in them a spring of water gushing up to eternal life." Now watch what she does next. The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I may never be thirsty or have to keep coming here to draw water." In other words, she returns the serve brilliantly, moving completely from the metaphor of the water into this living water that she recognizes that he's giving. And from there on, the disclosure gets even more remarkable. At the end, she says, "I know that the Messiah, that is the Christ, is coming. When he comes, he will tell us everything." Jesus said, "I, who am talking to you, am he." Extraordinary. This is the first time that he has ever disclosed himself to anybody. And it's been on the basis, while it remains quite mysterious still, that at every step of the way she could recognize just by something in his being and something in her that could pick it up, that this was the real deal she was talking to. And he could see so brilliantly her power of recognition that he knew that it was safe to step into her own light and make this very vulnerable self-disclosure. It's extraordinary. It's one of the most beautiful examples of the dance of recognition at work.